All right, we are here with Sean Bormet for another 5 questions. Sean is in California on his way back after heading there for some recruiting and fundraising. I want to ask you first about the Las Vegas tournament, Sean. We had 5 guys place. We took seventh. We had a champion in Jacob Cardenas. What were some of the big takeaways for you from that weekend?
Yeah, important competition, especially for some of our lesser experienced guys competing, against tougher competition. We've had a few matches under our belt, but these tough early tournaments are important. Um, you know, not we had some, I'd say some bright spots for sure, but definitely a lot of work to do
Yeah.
with just some individual work. A lot of the same things. I mean, we really saw some close, tough matches. Sort of a breakdown in our fundamentals as we got into some of those tougher bouts.
Yeah.
So we got to continue to really press those fundamental areas with the guys and the practices under just continued stress. Um, some of our young guys, the freshmen that competed, I thought they competed really well. Just some little tactical things and just overall some confidence areas that we got to continue to build through the training and in that practice room. But overall, like I said, some bright spots, definitely some work to do, but it's important we identify that early. So with that tournament, we had a good conversation with the guys. Some key areas, just for them until you're in those scenarios and you're feeling it. We got to think at a higher level, execute at a higher level in the training with each other. That competitiveness in some of those in-room live wrestling goes, in some of our drilling with specific resistance. Those things have to continue to increase. But I felt pretty good as a staff. We felt pretty good that the areas were clear, and we're excited to get to work on with the team.
I wasn't in on that conversation afterwards, but I had heard that one of the first things you said to those guys are, I love this team. What do you love so much about this team?
It is really a great group of guys. I mean, just man, they're not afraid to do the work. They're very committed. They want to win. We just need to continue to get better, and part of it is self belief, But it is just a great group, and just couldn't ask for a group of better guys to be coaching, and they're putting it all into doing. We got to continue to help them get better.
Jacob Cardenas looked outstanding. 5-0, 5 bonus wins. He got a pin in the finals. We've talked about him before, and how great he is, but, talk about it a little bit more. How impressed were you with him this past weekend?
Yeah, really impressed. I knew, he'd get tested a little more at this competition. Obviously, there were a few opponents that weren't there that we would have liked to seen him wrestle. But the thing with Jacob is he's very consistent. Every time he stepped on the mat, his attack rate was high. His tempo of motion and sort of moving the guy with his hands to open up and create scoring opportunities was very consistent from match to match. His transitions off takedowns to really being aggressive on top, getting his strong rides, getting in his turning positions. Just wrestle with great intensity and great consistency, which is sort of what we highlighted to some of the other guys where they did it in flashes, but just not enough consistency. Intensity in certain scenarios wasn't high enough. So there was a lot to sort of learn through watching Jacob. But coming off what he did this summer and the training and taking second in the world, he's wrestling with a lot of confidence, and that's key, and that's often the difference maker. In those tougher matches is sort of the confidence you're stepping on the mat with.
He's not our only champion. We had another champion this weekend, Josh Heinzelman at the Cleveland State Open. Obviously, we announced Josh last week as a grad transfer to our program. He'll be ready to go second semester. What do you like so much about Josh?
To our heavyweight spot. Uh, just a great competitor. He's a worker. He's got himself back in shape. I know he was really excited to compete. I think he got 4 matches. Obviously, we were in Vegas, so we weren't at the Cleveland State Open. But I know he was really excited to compete. I had some communication with him afterwards, and he said he felt really good to be back on the mat and competing. And it's always important because what you're doing in training and where you think you're at in your training is one thing, and And when you start competing, if you haven't competed in quite a while, like for him, I don't think he competed since last year's NCAA tournament. So
Right.
to get those matches in, that really helps fortify the areas that he needs to work, the intensity he needs to bring into those practices. And but he's off to a great start, and we're excited to get him out to the roster and get him wrestling for us next semester.
I want to ask you about Rob Salaver, who's been part of the program for a couple months now, has been around longer than that. One of our alums, our new director of sports science. He was with us on the road in Vegas this past weekend. What have you seen out of Rob that you think is really going to help the program going forward and these guys?
Yeah, our staff is really excited about Rob and Rob's position. You know, it's an area we've sort of been working and trying to put together for a while, and working with our athletic department. Really important for wrestling, and we've had to outsource some of these different areas within sports science over the last couple of years. So to have Rob, super knowledgeable, super passionate about what he does, and he understands the sport of wrestling, so he can really connect with our guys. We're super excited to have him on board on a daily basis in the building with the guys, with the coaching staff, because there's a lot of communication that goes along with that. Rob's sort of centered in the middle between our staff and the athletes, with our strength coach, Mike Favor, with our team dietitian, with our athletic trainer. He's sort of in the center of all that, and has sort of touches all those different pieces when you start to pull together, sports science. And he's mainly focused on like four pillars within that program, which is performance testing, weight management, load monitoring, and recovery. And those are four main pillars of the sports science initiative. And they impact every guy, because every guy's, energy system, weight management process, what he has to do for weight management is a little different. It will really help our staff, with the load monitoring and recovery. Will really help our staff just be able to plan a little more accurately for each guy as we sort of move through the season, and making sure that when they're training, they can train at the highest levels, and when they're recovering, they're actually recovering to a point where we can continue to train them at a higher level. So really excited about Rob. I know the guys are really, really connected with him. He brings a ton of energy and a ton of passion, not just to sports science, but to the sport of wrestling and specifically Michigan wrestling. So really excited about Rob.
Well, I was gonna say too, like one thing that Rob brings to the table is he's an unbelievably fun guy to be around. So, have you seen some of that with the guys so far?
Yeah, no, he's fun and he's creative, and even with like some of the things he's doing, some of the workouts he's designing. When you talk about weight management and you talk about different, training different energy systems, he's already bringing some creativity. I think he's built some programs where each one's named after a coach, and they have some different features to them, and he's got some dashboards where guys are competing in different areas that we haven't really thought about competing before, such as recovery and hydration in different areas. So he's got a ton of passion. He's a lot of fun to be around.
All right, last thing is, so we are done more or less competing for the semester. We'll send a handful of guys to Midlands late in December. But what is the plan between now and Midlands, now and January 1st?
So right now we have a nice training block. Obviously, the guys are sort of settled in for finals, working through that right now. But we have a nice training block, and we need that training block because, like I said, expectations are high for this team. Um, we have a great team, but we got work to do and we got to get better. So these practices are really going to be designed around a lot of the areas we saw, where some of our fundamentals broke down, those tougher bouts, with the hand fight, winning the hand fight, our tempo and attack rate, um, counter scores and defending deep leg attacks. Just some of those areas. We're going to hammer those areas and train the guys pretty hard. We have a nice block where we're not competing. Obviously, some of the guys will go to Midlands, and then we also have another nice training block. So we don't actually compete. We don't have our first Big Ten dual meet until January 10th. So we're going to really hammer these areas. Our mindset on attacking, continue to talk about and get these guys, thinking at a higher level on a daily basis and executing in those minutes at a higher level, just so that that earned self belief is there and continues to grow and build.
Right? Sean, thank you. We'll see you back here soon. Go Blue.
Go Blue!